Ladies and gentlemen, the global economy continues to fall. It is falling. And, for the most part, they are blaming the war and inflation for knocking the economy globally off balance. I think it's way more than that. I really do. But let's get into the story. So, the global economy in the US and outside of the US have been knocked off course by soaring inflation and energy. So we know Russia right now in the last recent days have been threatening to use nukes. And there is, make no mistake, going to be an energy crisis because Russia is going to be withholding gas that is heavily used all across Europe. And trust me, he's going to make good on that, especially with all of the sanctions that came from the West on to Russia. Oh, he's going to answer you now, especially winter time is coming. So, according to business surveys that were recently done, Europe's economic activities have declined sharply in September. And they're saying, the same thing they're saying here, although they have gone through a few quarters where everything was declined. Oh, we might be entering a recession. They just can't admit it to save their mama's life right now, but we know this world is in a recession. Come on now. So the Asian economies are also struggling. They had a rough summer with all of the heat waves and how long the heat wave has went on. I mean, well over 70 days of being in triple digits every single day for the summer. And they had to shut down businesses, and some places in China had to shut down due to the pandemic. Between those two things, they are so far behind on production now, it's not even funny. So their economies are also weakened. And it's going to impact what goes on here in America because America has sent all the work to China. So you can anticipate shortages and more additional problems this coming fall and winter. So, ladies and gentlemen, there was a contraction all over the Eurozone, which was already predicted was going to happen. So the Eurozone right now is in a recession, and they said the business conditions over in Europe continues to worsen, intensify price pressures linked to soaring energy costs. So they're saying around the world, trade volumes are sputtering and inflation is crushing households and business confidence. The China, just like over here in the US, China is also having problems in their housing market, while Europe's energy crisis is hammering factory output. So, they're doing the same thing you see over here. They're trying to raise interest rates and trying to do tax cuts and everything they can, but these things are not working. And as for Vladimir Putin, Russia's president this week, he threatened to use nuke strikes. So we shall see what happens in Ukraine, but this ain't good. Now, some of y'all are talking, oh, Russia's losing, and they got all the new weapons from the US. Russia ain't gonna lose, y'all. I said this before, and I'm going to tell you this again. Russia will nuke Ukraine before they take a loss. They're not going to take no loss. They will nuke that whole place before they take a loss. You're just not listening. Okay? They're not kicking up nukes for no reason. He's not going to take no loss without using nukes. But you'll get it. just kind of slow, I guess. So the central banks and the Federal Reserve are prioritizing the fight against inflation, interest rates at a pace not seen in decades. So the dollar right now is soaring against other currencies, but they're saying that really is not a good thing, you know? So putting pressure on emerging markets that have borrowed into dollars. So they said the US consumer spending remains, it's okay in this country for now, but it's definitely going to shift, especially when these high gas and electric bills come flowing into America this coming fall and winter. Oh, attitudes are going to change, and spending, people are going to cut back on spending because the energy costs are going to be astronomical. And they're already putting this in the news. I don't know how many of you are paying attention. They're warning Americans that the energy bills are going to be a lot bigger this year than previous years. So just better watch out for what's going on. And we already know the housing market is in shambles in America, rent going through the roof. And, you know, they're saying the only way you might see some relief if people that are unemployed, that whole situation gets better. And of course, folks getting back to work. And because there is still a big worker shortage going on in the United States. So, mm, mm, mm. Powell did a statement on Wednesday talking about the state of the U.S. economy. And, he just said the typical things, they'll stay confident and get the job done. Yeah, well, that's not going to keep you out of a recession that we're already in, by the way. So, retail sales across Europe have dropped to the lowest level in record. They said since 1985, this is probably the worst the retail market has been over in Europe. So, the German economy, some of you saw some of the news stories that came out over the summer that spoke about how their economy collapsed. Well, it's definitely in a deteriorating state, and it remains that way. It has not gotten better over in the German economy. So they said they're looking ahead, but it does not look good for them at all. You know, so their economy continues to shrink and it continues to get worse. And they're saying more than half of the German retailers see their economic existence threatened by the energy cost. Yes. And there are a lot of farmers globally are saying that they don't know what they're going to do if the energy costs go up. And, and of course, the gas prices have made a lot of farmers globally abandon their crops. They said they just couldn't afford struggling with trying to water crops, especially during a drought. And then you had the high gas, and because a lot of them depend on diesel, and the diesel prices were outrageous. And many of them walked away from their crops and just let them go. They couldn't afford to keep them up. And it was the same way with livestock. If you remember, during the summer here, they start selling off the livestock because the drought was drying up all the grass and everything that the especially cattle depend on eating, and it was just drying up from all the hot weather. So it was a big cattle sell off back in July and August. So, and now they're telling them to prepare for probably a record-breaking winter. So it don't look good. And then the semiconductor situation is still not good, So anything that requires a chip, they're still struggling with that. So the semiconductor industry has been hit by a slump in sales of personal computers, smartphones, and data servers worldwide. And they have not been able to rebound at all. So, y'all, it don't look good globally. And we shall see what it's going to be like this coming winter. But they're saying the global economy is literally in the emergency room right now. But, y'all, please tell me what you think about this video. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.